Good evening, everyone. It's Sal Stretford Post. How you all doing? And welcome to Chatterbox. Hope everyone is doing great. Everyone's doing fine. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, of course, guys, which has been a decent 24 hours, of course, apart from the arguments about whether Bruno is a legend at Man United or not. And are we overly celebrating what happened yesterday? Are we getting a little bit too excited about certain players? Are we overhyping some of our players, should we say? I mean, that is what the argument has been today, of course. I mean, I've seen it left, right, and center. People just bringing out arguments for no reason at all. People are talking about silly little things and arguing about petty little things. For goodness sake, Man United have just won a football match. And you know what? That is, all that matters at the end of the day, guys. That's all I care about is United winning a football match. And we won the match yesterday. And to be honest with you, I'm happy about that. And I don't know about you. We move on. Whether who's good enough or not, who's a legend of Man United, who played in the 90s, you know what? It doesn't really matter. Because at the end of the day, all I see is basically, players who are available, ready and available for this football club. Right now, what we see in regards to some players are never available, right? And we have to praise those players who are ready and available every single game, despite the adversities, despite the toxic atmosphere going on. They were always available, and we have to praise that. We have to obviously show that some respect at the end of the day, guys. That's what I would say in regards to that, because you know what? We can argue until the cows come home in regards to who's good, who's a legend, who's not a legend. You know what I mean? It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. In my personal opinion, in regards to legends, legends win titles and Champions Leagues. That is my theory on a legend. There is such a thing as a great. There's such a thing as a great player. You know what I mean? There is such a thing as that, to be honest with you. But if we're being totally frank, you know what? Legend status gets thrown away too much. I mean, for me, a legend is Eric Cantona, Sir Bobby Charlton, Dennis Law, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes. That is a legend for me. Now, can Bruno reach the heights of that type of legendary status? Sure he can. But we have to win a league title, and we have to win a Premier, and we have to win the Champions League. Because when we look at things in a subjective kind of way, and we don't look at things from a biased point or a sinister point of view, or a narrative point of view, we look at things for what they are. And at the moment, Bruno is the only one right now in a very poor Manchester United era who has been doing anything consistently for Manchester United. Does that make him a legend? No, it doesn't, in my opinion. But what I would say is that, you know what, I respect Bruno, and I think what Bruno does for this football team, week in, week out, sometimes carrying us on his back, is a testament to what he is as a person, of course, guys, and I appreciate that at the end of the day. Now, guys, when I get into other news about Manchester United, Luke Shaw is due to come back to play for Manchester United. Now, this is where things get a little bit tricky. Would you have Luke Shaw back at Manchester United? Would you do it, guys? Would you have Luke Shaw back at Man United playing? Now, look, I really firmly believe that we should move on from Luke Shaw. Now, Luke Shaw on his day is a very, very good player, a capable player. Some may say he's a world-class left-back, some may say. He's a very capable player, in my opinion, and he can make things happen. But since his injury record and stuff, I think there comes a time in our lives that we have to really evaluate players and you know what, and say, look, is it enough is enough? Enough is enough. These players need to leave the football club. We can't be carrying these players anymore. It's over with our niceties, because we've been too good to these players, carrying players with the likes of Phil Jones, with the likes of Luke Shaw, etc., etc., etc. at the end of the day. But what I would say to you guys is that I feel myself, Luke Shaw needs to be gone in the summer. Now, guys, I'm going to write a poll. I'm going to write a poll for this in regards to Luke Shaw. So just bear with me a second. I'm going to write a poll for this. I want you guys to get involved in this poll, if you don't mind, guys. If you can get involved in this poll, that would be good at the end of the day. Like, let me start a poll. Would you keep Luke Shaw? There we go. Just a simple yes, no. Now, the biggest problem is that we're facing today, of course, the biggest problem that we're facing today is the fact that his wages, his injury record, etc., you know what, puts certain teams off purchasing him. I mean, who would want to buy Luke Shaw? This is the question. Who would want to purchase Luke Shaw? Who would be crazy enough to purchase Luke Shaw, guys? Who do you think? I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think there are many teams out there that would want Luke Shaw. I mean, because of his injury record. At the end of the day, teams are going to want to buy Luke Shaw. They're going to want him to play football, isn't it? At the end of the day. Now, Man United have a bit of a problem. Now, Man United have Mason Mount. And many people are talking about Mason Mount. Ruben Amorim loves Mason Mount. And that may be the case. But Ruben Amorim has been known to talk about players in a glowing light and then get rid of them. He liked Marcus Rashford, as he said, you know, and then what happened? He loaned out Marcus Rashford, didn't he, at the end of the day, guys, you know? What I would say is that I wouldn't be surprised if Mason Mount leaves this football club. I wouldn't. I think it needs to happen. Who we can get again, it is a problem, isn't it? It's a problem in regards to wages. This is the problem happening at Man United at the moment. It's a problem in regards to availability. This is what's going on at Man United. We can't keep carrying players, guys. We really can't at the end of the day. And what I would say is, guys, is that Mason Mount, Luke Shaw, in my personal opinion, would be sold, right? Not because of ability-wise. I rate them on ability-wise, but it would be because they are not available for Manchester United, and they haven't been available for Manchester United for a long time. In particular, Luke Shaw, of course, guys. Luke Shaw, as I said many times, I got to a point, right? I got to a point where I was supporting Luke Shaw. And I was proper supporting him all the way through his career. And when he got the terrible injury against PSV 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I was supporting him all the way until the end, all the way until this literally recently. And then I got to the point where I said, done, that's it, enough is enough. The biggest turning point for me personally was when he played for England in the Euros, then didn't get fit for Manchester United again. And that sort of resonated, that sort of hurt, to be honest with you, in regards to being a Man United fan. But his main priority is not Manchester United at the end of the day. And when I talk about these things, you know what, people get a little bit touchy in regards to the subject. There are people who support Luke Shaw to this day, but we have to be realistic and do what's best for Manchester United. My opinion is that we are stuck with Luke Shaw. And whether we want him out, there might be an avenue for him to leave the football club. I don't know. But who in their right mind would want Luke Shaw at their football club? You know what I mean? Best ability is availability, of course, guys, as I've always said. And to be honest with you, listen, if there's one player who's never available, it's Luke Shaw. Do you know what I mean? It's Luke Shaw. And I think we need to move on from him. I think we need to move on from Mason Mount. And there are others. Obviously, there was rumors that Man United are looking to shift up to 10 players. Now, we can argue until the cows come home in regards to who those players should be, to leave the club. Luke Shaw, I think, should be out of the football club. Big up, Chippelen. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. I mean, at the end of the day, Luke Shaw is one of the players that quite possibly should be leaving the football club, if we're being honest. Mason Mount, Casemiro should be leaving. Lindelof is leaving. Eriksen will be leaving as well. You know, Rashford, Anthony could be leaving the football club as well. You know, all being well, of course, these players could be leaving the football club. Now, I know there's a few players that a lot of you want to sell, but that's not going to happen. Some players say that Dalot should leave. He's not going to leave. Dalot will not leave Manchester United. Ruben Amorim loves Diego Dalot. Some people don't like Bruno, even though Bruno's in a rich vein of form, and Bruno has saved us a number of times, as they say. Some people still want him gone. Some people don't like him. I respect their decision. I respect how they feel. People are feeling a little bit aggrieved. I mean, in regards to the way Man United have been over the last, 11, 12 years. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I do believe that there are far more concerning and pressing issues at Manchester United than Bruno Fernandes. At the end of the day, Bruno Fernandes, you know, regardless what you think of him, he's the only one, the only kind of shining light in our football team at the moment. And you know what? We have a few that are up and coming. Obviously, Aiden Heaven gives us excitement. Of course, Ahmad, of course, coming through as well. Garnacho's still very young. He can improve as well, guys. Xerxes becoming the player that we bought him for, of course, guys. There's a lot of positivities in regards to that. There's lots of things that we can be excited about. You know what I mean? But you know what? We have to also be critical in our thinking and our opinions, because we want to win league titles, we want to win Champions Leagues, etc. We need to look at the players that have failed to deceive for many, many years now and have been a mainstay in our decade of failure in regards to Champions Leagues and Premier League titles. Now, people want to talk to me and they talk about standards and stuff like that. Let me remind you, I've been supporting Man United for nearly 40 years, guys. A big part of my life has been this football club, supporting this football club through thick and thin, right? And it was very thin when I started supporting Man United. There was not much joy. You know, we had Alex Ferguson, who was on the brink of the sack when I started supporting Manchester United, of course. You know, but what I've done, I've learned about the art of patience. I've learned about what is good, what isn't good. And even if a player is one of your favorites, it doesn't mean that they should stay at the football club and have a divine right to stay at the football club. For example, when we lost the league title in 1994, in 1995, we got rid of the likes of Paul Ince and Mark Hughes and Andre Kanchelskis and players of that nature. And we brought in kids. Right? And people may argue, if Twitter and social media was around back then, people would be saying, what the hell are we doing? Kanchelskis was a fan favorite. Mark Hughes was a fan favorite. Paul Ince was a fan favorite, of course, guys. You know what I mean? The way Steve Bruce was let go, Gary Pallister, the way he was let go, these were fan favorites as well. Let's not forget that there has been many players who have left this football club that we've been like, what? There's been players like Jaap Stam who've left this football club, who won a treble at this football club. You know what I mean? So nobody at this football club should have the divine right to stay at this football club. Even if you are a fan favorite, even if you are stat padding your way to the top, you know what I mean, to the hearts of Manchester United fans, it doesn't mean give you a divine right to stay at the club, of course. Steve, what's going on, my friend? Are we doing well? I think we have to ask Sal, is it value for money? United is a business at the end of the day. I think it's time to pay him off if we can. I mean, look, you know what? I would love that, Steve. And this is why we needed Qatar. Or not only Qatar, this is why we needed a full sale. You know, whether it's Apple, Amazon, Elon Musk, whatever, right? We needed that so we can also pay off contracts. We can pay off these contracts, these astronomical, overinflated contracts that we've been given out like candy. Do you know what I mean? We have been given out. And I mean, especially players that are never ready and available. You know what I mean? And that is what's disappointing, because that is a symbol of how badly we've been run over the years. The contractual issue, the likes of Casemiro, how much money he's getting. Of course, Casemiro is going to want to stay at Manchester United. Of course he does. I mean, at the end of the day, he's getting, 300,000 a week? He's our highest paid player. Of course, Rashford wouldn't want to leave Man United. But what Man United can do in regards to some players, in regards to Jadon Sancho. Now, Jadon Sancho has been told by Ruben Amorim that he is not welcome back at Manchester United. He's been told that he is on the transfer list if he comes back to Manchester United. Now, the problem with doing that is that the problem is, again, the same problem, wages. You know, how are we going to get Jadon Sancho at the football club if he's on astronomical amounts of wages? He's got 1 year left on his contract. If Chelsea give us 13, 14 million, great, take the money. And what do we do after that? The only thing we can do is loan out Jadon Sancho. Tell them to pay a huge portion of the wage. And then by the end of his contract, he can go on a free transfer, of course. I would have wanted it the other way. I would have wanted Chelsea to stick to their obligation. It must be very embarrassing for Jadon Sancho, the fact that the only player I can remember in history that, you know what, cancelled the obligation, you know, at the end of the day, guys, in my opinion. But you know what? In regards to Luke Shaw, I feel like we had this affair with Luke Shaw, this 11 years, 12 years love affair with Luke Shaw is over, guys. It is over, and I feel like we have to move on now. We have to do what's best for the football club, both on the pitch and on a financial level. And I feel like if we can try and get rid of him, whoever would want him, you know, at the end of the day, who's going to want? That is the $1 billion question. Who will want Luke Shaw? You know, because he's not available. They're going to want a player to play. He doesn't play. I mean, unless we can bring in the fact that he feigns injury, of course. Unless the fact that you know what? He can get fit like he does for England. He can get fit, and he can get fit when he wants to get fit. That is the only question I have, of course. Big up UK, Darren, you legend. I hope you're doing well, brother. I hope you're good, my friend. Absolutely good to see you, mate. Yeah, so I would say, look, and people, don't get me twisted, right? Years ago, when Luke Shaw was playing for Man United, right, I was a big fan of Luke Shaw. I'll be honest, guys, I was probably too much a fan of Luke Shaw because I thought Luke Shaw had the potential to be the best left back in world football. That's why they called him Shawberto Carlos, wasn't it? Shawberto Carlos, they called him. That's why they called him that at the end of the day. And you know what? There comes a time when you have to put your personal feelings to one side and say, look, well, Luke Shaw, he's not that guy, you know? Now, guys, the biggest question today, what I've been seeing around is Bruno Fernandes a legend? In my opinion, what defines a legend at Manchester United at the end of the day? What defines a legend? For me, what defines a legend is a number of things, a whole number of things. It's the amount of appearances you've had for the football club. It's the overall influence you had at the football club. It is the trophies you won at the football club. Of course, that is very, very important. You know, iconically, you know, we've had players that have played for Man United that haven't won much, right? Won things, but didn't win a lot. Brian Robson, right? For me, the greatest captain, one of the greatest captains of all time, right? Brian Robson, for example, didn't win Champions Leagues, won Cup Winners' Cup, won the Cup Winners' Cup, won the Premier League late in his career as well, of course, in 1993, of course. So, you know what, that, you know, looking at Brian Robson, knowing Brian Robson, and Brian Robson is a Manchester United legend, DNA, Man United DNA, winning the title, winning the Cup Winners' Cup. You know, the title is a key. You have to at least win the title one time, in my opinion, if you want to be deemed a Manchester United legend at the end of the day. You have to win the title. You have to win the Champions League, something like that. People are bringing to me about Steven Gerrard, and I don't like to talk about Steven Gerrard too much, but people like to talk a lot about Steven Gerrard and about how Steven Gerrard didn't win anything. He won a Champions League. Do you know what I mean? And actually contributed to them winning the Champions League. That is why he's a Liverpool legend, right? But we're Manchester United, and the legends we have, like, for example, Cantona, Scholes, Giggs, Keane, Bruce, Schmeichel, you know, these players are like Dennis Irwin, Gary Neville. These are legends of Manchester United. Of course they are. Added to the fact Sir Bobby Charlton and, you know, of course, Dennis Law and, you know, George Best. Of course, these players, Duncan Edwards. And these are players who are legends of the football club. Rasta, what's going on, my friend? Criminal, mate. That's what he is. A criminal, says Rasta. Absolutely. Who voted yes on this poll? You're a disgrace, the cheat. Hope you get relegated. Absolutely. Big up SLD. Yeah. It's a democracy at the end of the day. We're here in the democracy of Stretford Post, of course, guys. Absolutely. But you know what? Look, you know what? I lost trust in Luke Shaw, and that is what happened to me. Like, I lost trust in him when I saw him for England, and I saw him playing the Euros, and then when the Premier League game started again. And let's not forget, guys, it wasn't just the Euros last year. It was actually the Euros in England as well, the one where we got to the final against Italy. It was in that one as well where he got himself fit. Now, you know, come on, guys. You know, he's done it on more than one occasion. So one, you know what I mean, is right. Okay, he done it once. Maybe that's a coincidence. But to do it again, and you know what, get fit, it beggars belief, to be honest with you. Now, what I like about Ruben Amorim is that he doesn't take any nonsense. He sees through the bullshit and stuff like that. He sees through things. I like that about Ruben Amorim. I mean, he's polite. He will be nice to you. He'll say nice things about you. But as I've always said, he is the smiling assassin. He will get rid of you in a sixpence. He understands that he needs players who are going to play for the badge. Now, in the summer, we got Diego Leon coming to this football club, who is an absolute animal, guys. So that is one thing. We've also got Harry Mas coming through the system as well. So that is another thing. We've also got Dorgu coming through as well. That is another thing as well. At the end of the day, you know, we're fully stacked in that position next season, guys, in my opinion. We're fully stacked. We're more inclined to get more right wing backs, in my opinion. Rasta, if you're not available for the club that pays you to make a living, but you're ready for England and you don't even make much money for England, I need him out. Absolutely. I mean, the thing is, Rasta, that is true. That is very true, Rasta. The thing is, how are we going to get him out? You know, who's going to want to buy him? You know, who's going to want to buy him? Who's going to want to pay his wages when evidence suggests that he's never available and he's never fit? That is the $1 million question at the moment, isn't it? You know, I mean, some people may say you could sell him to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, they're not crazy. They know that he's been injured a majority of the time, of course. Even Rooney said it about injured players doing this. Yeah, Rooney knows it. And Rooney knows it. Jose Mourinho said it as well. Many other players have said it as well. Cristiano Ronaldo indirectly said it as well. There's many greats who've said this, SLD. They've said that some players feign injury. They just can't. I mean, like, you know what? Feigning is a big word, but I would say that they just make themselves available selectively, make themselves available when they want. When they want to play, that's when they want to play. They don't want to play for the badge at the end of the day. There are times when I feel that some players can play through the pain barrier, and some players do play through the pain barrier. I know full well Bruno plays through the pain barrier. Garnacho plays through the pain barrier. This is why they get picked a lot, because they're always playing through the pain barrier. Dalot plays through the pain barrier, you know, and that is it. Because you know what? Whether you think they're talented, whether you think they're bums, whatever you think they are, at the end of the day, they're always ready to play for the football club. You know, there are players there who get a little knock and they're out for weeks. And that's what Jose Mourinho said, didn't he? He said it about Martial. He said it about Luke Shaw, didn't he? Rasta, he disrespected the badge. The doctor is not there anymore to save any milk. Do you remember, Rasta, the story about Luke Shaw, about him turning up late for his physiotherapy? And I don't want this to be a bashing Luke Shaw show, but I just want, he's back. He's almost back. He's almost up to fully fitness. So he could be back for Man United by the end of the season, right? What I'm saying is that he used to turn up to his physiotherapy sessions late. But what he used to do, he used to buy his doctor a bottle of champagne, right? Just to soften it and not basically snitch on him, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? Not basically snitch on him. And to be honest with you, that is bad as it is. That's crazy as it is. And that is unforgivable as it is, in my opinion. Rooney played through injury. Absolutely, Rooney played through injury. Schmeichel played through injury. Of course, many players did. Gary Pallister played with a bad back. Rio Ferdinand played with a bad back. These players played, but you know, Ryan Giggs played with a dodgy hamstring. There's many players that have played with bad. You know what I mean? It depends how much you want it, how much you love the club, how much you're willing to sacrifice for this football club. In my opinion, it just depends how far you're willing to go for that badge. Of course. And so Martial playing like he never had an injury record. There you go. And that is an exposure, isn't it, SLD? That's an exposure of who they are as a person. That is what it is at the end of the day. Now, this is the whole point of us researching who we buy in the future. What players we're going to buy in the future? Who are we going to get in the future? What players we're going to get in the future? Obviously, this is the key. Now, we have to think cleverly now when we buy players in the future. What is their injury record like? Do they have, how many games do they play a season, you know, and stuff? And are they ready and available, you know? And that's what I would say at the end of the day, guys. Look, at the end of the day, big up, Donny. What's going on? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're good. This is the overriding thing that I would bring into it. And this is the fact that I would bring into all of these shows, is that I would try and bring a balance to it, you know, but I just feel like there's certain situations now that if we're going to move on, we have to really stop being overly zealous, overly supportive to certain players that don't have their best interest at heart for the football club, in my opinion. You know, they don't have the best interest at heart. Danny, check out Arden Jashiri at Club Perfect. Perfect, cheap signing for Man United. Let me write his name down, Danny B. You know, Danny B, I respect your scouting. So I haven't heard of this player. It's rare for me. So Arden Jashiri, yeah? There we go. I'm going to write, I've written his name down, you know what, and I'm going to check him out. I'm going to watch some YouTube compilations and things like that in regards to the player, of course, yeah. But there are many players in Europe, isn't it? There's many players, as you know, Danny B, there's many players in South America that Man United can go after, of course, guys. There's many there, you know, that we can think about, you know, getting on the cheap. You know, there are many out there, to be honest with you. And it's up to Man United to find those players. It's up to Man United to get those players through the door, you know. There is going to be competition, of course. Sure, it's one of 7-6 players that must leave in the summer. Now, let's go through it, guys. Let's go through it, right? From top to bottom. Anana, right? does Onana need to be sold? Do you trust Onana to perform for Man United in a championship challenging, Champions League challenging team? For me, no. I think we need a new goalkeeper, and I think I would put Onana on the on the transfer list. Of course, Jasira is quality. Big up, Danny B. Thank you for that, brother. We'll be happy. We'll be happy you did so. You should do a video on him. I will do, Danny B. Definitely. I might do a video tomorrow. I'll have a look at it. I'll do a video tomorrow, and we see how it is. So we're saying that Onana sell. Yeah, UK Darren saying Onana sell. Onana sell. Now let's go to left back. Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw. Keep or sell, guys. I'm going to keep or sell. Let's say Luke Shaw, keep or sell. Should we sell Luke Shaw? Who are we going to sell him to? That's the biggest question. Who are we going to sell him? Right. Let's forget about Luke Shaw. Tyro Malacia. Tyro Malacia needs to be out the door, right? We don't think 100%. So absolutely. So Luke Shaw and Tyro Malacia. Absolutely. Tyro Malacia, you know what? I'm selling. You know, that's 3 players already. And I'm just on left back, guys, and goalkeeper. That's 3 players. Tyro Malacia sell, 1,000% sell. Give them away for free. Absolutely. We can do that with Luke Shaw. I hope we can. Right. Lindelof is going. He's going on a free. So he won't be. Johnny Evans is going. That's 5. He's going on a free as well. Now, Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire has just signed a contract at Man United. Will he be leaving Man United? If we were able to sell him, sell, says Beef Bully. Sell. There you go. People don't want Harry Maguire anymore. He's starting to get into those injury records again as well, isn't it? He's starting to get into those injury records as well. So Harry Maguire. Now we look at right back. Yeah, we look at right back. Diego Dalot. He's saying keep for one more season for Maguire. Yeah, there we go. Keep Slab only if he's 5th choice. That's true. That is the thing. Now, Diogo Dalot. Diogo Dalot. Now, I have my theory on this, and the problem is that Ruben Amorim rates him highly. Ruben Amorim rates him highly, right? So I would say, personally, we're not going to sell Dalot. I would say no, because we're going to be very short on that side, right? We're going to be very short on that side, and Dalot is very versatile as well. So I would bring in another right wing back to complement Dalot. So, you know what? Keep him and bring in a player to play right wing back who can rotate with him. And obviously, if he has competition, Dalot might be keeping on his toes, wouldn't it? So we got 6 players so far, but I would sell Slab personally. In the end, I'll probably sell him one more season. Absolutely. Sell Dalot now while he's still high transfer value. That's a good point. Guys, look, let's say we keep Dalot. So we got 6 players, right? Then we look at the midfield. Casemiro, right? And this is the 7th player, guys. Casemiro. I mean, too much money. He's getting a week. We're paying too much money. He's too slow now. I think he's been playing well recently. Don't get me wrong. He's been playing very well recently. But I just feel like it's coming to the end for him. Absolutely. It's coming to the end for him. UK Darren says sell. Absolutely. He's gone ASAP. He's 300 grand a week, guys. You know what I mean? And he's slow. Don't get me wrong. He's been a brilliant player for Man United. But I think he has to go, guys. I really do. And that is how I would see it. Now, we all know, right? And we know that what about Anthony, right? Lots of people have been telling me that Anthony should stay. Anthony deserves another chance, blah, blah, blah. For me, nah. I think he's had 2 years at Man United. He hasn't worked out. For me, I would sell him. I would sell Anthony, and that will be the 8th. What do you think of Anthony, guys? Would you sell Anthony? Sell Dalot, says Rasta. There you go. So, look, guys, when we're looking at things, right? So, let's look at Anthony, right? We sell him. Then we sell Rashford as well, right? I've come up with 9 players, guys. 9 players. Now we come to Rasmus Højlund. What's going to happen with Rasmus Højlund? You know what I mean? Will we keep Rasmus Højlund? Would you keep Rasmus Højlund? Would you give Rasmus Højlund another chance? You know, would you give him one more year? Scored a goal yesterday. Very good goal, of course. Would you give him another season to see how he does? So anti-25, absolutely. I'm on the fence with Anthony. It depends, doesn't it, UK Darren? It depends because, you know what, we can't sell 10, 11, 12 players. Look, we're getting into double figures here. And there you go. This shows you the magnitude of the work that needs to be done at Man United. The magnitude of the work that needs to be done at Man United at the end of the day. Keep Højlund. Good one. Keep Rasmus, second choice. Yeah, I would do that. I think so, Danny. I think so. I think that's a good point. I would keep Rasmus. I like Rasmus. I think Rasmus, again, always available and stuff like that, of course. I really don't understand what is going on, sir. I wrote at least 4 messages and it will disappear after. I don't know, Tyborg. I really don't know, mate. I really don't know. Maybe it's the software. Are you using a PC? Are you using an iPhone or something like that? What are you using? Because it never happens. Yeah, maybe it's your mobile phone, mate. Try and do it on a laptop or something, Tyborg. Try and do it on a laptop. I don't know why. Look, I've seen, how many of your messages have I seen? I've seen one of your messages, I think, but I haven't seen them all, to be honest with you, guys. I haven't seen them all. But Tyborg, I would like to see your messages. I like your messages. I don't know why they keep disappearing. Try and use a laptop if you can. I know the mobile phone's easier, but it does become. Sell Shaw, Malacia, Ericsson, Evans is free transfer. He's going on contract over. Anthony, Rashford, Onana, Lindelof. I think the Lindelof's contract is over as well. So you would keep Casa, Beef Bully. You would keep Casa. You would keep, who else would you keep? You'll keep Rasmus. Would you keep Maguire? Would you keep Luke Shaw? Oh, Shaw's there, sorry. Would you keep Dalot? You'll keep all those players. You know what you said there, Beef Bully? Beef Bully, what you said there is basically a basically draft of what we should get rid of. So Shaw, Malacia, Ericsson, Evans, Anthony, Rashford, Onana, Lindelof. Those need to go. If we're being realistic, if we really want Man United to be a success, those players need to go, to be honest with you. We have to be real. We have to be honest with ourselves. You know what I mean? At least with Shaw, but will they do it? Will they find a buyer? And the problem is this. We work so slow. As Jim Ratcliffe said, we want to walk to the right decision rather than sprint to the wrong decision. Things like that. Do you know what I mean? Typical Ineos, obviously, quote, of course. If we got rid of all those players, do we trust the ownership to replace those players? We can't. Well, look, we got great youngsters coming through, but we can't build a team around 10 youth players. We can't do that. Obviously, we'll be in big trouble, of course. And things like what happened to, obviously, Aiden Heaven yesterday can always happen. It can always occur, of course, guys. But we will bring in some youngsters. I'm pretty sure about that. But I think about 4 or 5 youngsters will come through, which is great. And they will be obviously occupying the bench. We're going to see some great players coming through. I'm a big fan of Shea Lacey. I'm a big fan of Fletcher. Morehouse, of course, has been absolutely brilliant. Kokonki's been absolutely amazing as well. You know what? We got some great young players coming through the system and the ranks. So we can get rid of loads of players, but it's replacing them is the problem. You know, how are we going to replace these players? Now, we can get rid of Luke Shaw. We can get rid of Tyra Malacia because we've got Dorgu and we've got Diego Leon. So we don't need those players anymore. So they've been covered. Ericsson is covered. We got Collier. We can cover Ericsson, right? Evans is going on a free transfer anyway, but we need a replacement for Evans and Lindelof. We need one more defender because obviously we cannot trust Licha Martinez. He's got a serious injury and you know what? He's starting to get injuries every few months now, every few weeks. And obviously Aiden Heaven, God forbid. I mean, I've heard that the injury is not as bad as first feared, but God forbid, you know what? He got an injury yesterday and we are all worried for him. It really dampened the spirits, to be honest with you. But is he going to be injury prone? Another one. Do you know what I mean? So we have to buy in one player in defense, in my opinion. Test. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, Tyborg. I see you, man. I see you, my friend. I see you. Absolutely. What did the drummer name his daughters? His twin daughters? Anna 1, Anna 2. Sorry, guys. That was the joke from Xerxes on that. If you've seen the podcast on MUTV, they had Xerxes and Mazaruri on there telling jokes, and it's hilarious. Do you know what I mean? What do you call an educated fish? Sophisticated. There you go, guys. I got to tell more, John. Thwaites is class. He has the highest ceiling out of all the midfielders in the academy. Still very young, though. Yeah, Thwaites is a very good player. Absolutely. I'm a big fan of Ibrahimov, Danny B as well. I think Ibrahimov is a very, very good as well. We got great players there. Of course, Mantato as well, of course, who could play right wing back. Those sort of players, they're very, very good. And maybe we need to try it of them, of course. I am afraid Martinez is an absolute. Sure, I could be wrong, but these injuries happen. Yeah, and especially Tyborg, when you get to a certain age, you know, the healing process sort of slows down, doesn't it? It slows down. And to be honest with you, I like Licha Martinez. I think he's been one of our best signings post Alex Ferguson. I think he's been brilliant. He's one of the players, the few players in Man United team who get into Alex Ferguson team. But unfortunately, his injury the injuries are just too much now, and we can't keep having that. Of course, we're going to give him until the end of the contract. I don't think Man United are going to sell Licha Martinez. I think Man United like Licha Martinez. Is a great influence around. And by the way, congratulations to Licha Martinez, whose wife had a baby yesterday, of course. So congratulations to Licha Martinez on that. Absolutely big love and prosperous. And I'm wishing you health and happiness, of course, guys. Absolutely. But I would say that, you know what, let's see what happens with Licha. But I would say that now we need to be looking for the future. Aiden Heaven, right? You know what, Aiden Heaven yesterday, for me, it was like, you know what, getting close to being the man of the match for me. I mean, for me, he was the man of the match for me. That 50 minutes, he showed me so much. Right, a lot of people are saying Bruno was a man of the match, etc. But that 50 minutes, he showed me so much. Let me have a look. Martinez is never out for a week. It's always months. Exactly, UK down. Exactly. Look, I don't like. You can get injured and you can get injured for weeks. Right, that's what we used to do in the 90s. You used to have players out for 2 weeks. Even that was long. You know, I mean. Nowadays, like, we get injuries every single week, and it is long-term injuries, and that is the problem. And I never noticed this in the 90s or the turn of this century. I never noticed it under Alex Ferguson. Don't you think that's strange, considering sometimes we would play 60, 70 games a season and relatively have more or less the same sort of lineup every single game, apart from probably the League Cup and Coca-Cola Cup back then. But you know what, Worthington Cup, of course. Don't you think it's a bit strange that we're getting these long-term injuries now? What's going on? I don't know, because you look at Aiden Heaven's injury yesterday, and I don't think it was his fault. It was not like Licha Martinez, who dives into challenges and gets injured because he wears his heart on his sleeve and stuff like that. It was sort of innocuous. It was an innocuous challenge. And to be honest with you, I was a bit worried because they didn't show it on the replay, the TV, and I can't find it online. There was nothing, so I was a bit worried. I thought he broke his leg, but apparently he hasn't broken his leg. I thought it was a fibula, I thought it was a tibula, and if it's a fibula or tibula, it's, as I said earlier, it's 6 to 8 months. You know what I mean? If it's a hairline fracture, it's not as bad. It's 6 to 8 weeks. You know what I mean? But I'm just hoping it's bruising. I'm hoping it's a dislocation, something like that. The medical staff were woeful. I agree. I think we got rid of the Arsenal one now. We got rid of one of the Arsenal medical staffs now. I'm hearing that we got rid of him. I heard that he's left the football club. I may be wrong, but I heard that he's left the football club or he's leaving the football club. So you know what? That is something that is good, because I think Man United's medical team, physiotherapy team, it's a lot to be desired at the moment. And if the rumours are true that Luke Shaw used to go into the physiotherapy late, and Luke Shaw used to buy the doctor a bottle of champagne and he accepted the bribe. I mean, what does that tell you about it? What does that tell you about it at the end of the day? Crazy. Now, a little bit of update, of course. Jerome Frimpong. Jerome Frimpong looks likely to leave Leverkusen in the summer. It is said that he wants a new challenge. Manchester United, of course, are interested in Jerome Frimpong. Jerome Frimpong, of course, won the league with Bundesliga side Bayer Leverkusen, of course. Very, very good player, and would fit Ruben Amorim's system to a T, of course, guys. He would fit it perfectly. Right wing, back winger, you name it, he will be absolutely fantastic. Left winger as well, he can do that as well. Brilliant, brilliant player. The only concern about Jerome Frimpong is that he's going to be in demand. There's a lot of teams that are going to want Jerome Frimpong, and also his price tag is going to inflate incredibly if that occurs. Of course, if the likes of Real Madrid and Bayern Munich and these type of teams want Jerome Frimpong, the price tag is going to increase dramatically. Now, we've lost out on, obviously, Quenda. The rumor was Quenda wanted to stay on the right wing. He didn't want to play right wing back. I don't know if that is true, but those are the rumors that have been spreading around. But Jerome Frimpong, for me, is at the moment the best wing back in European football, at least the best up-and-coming wing back in European football. Absolutely. Good news, new team needed. Absolutely. We do. You know what? There's a lot of players out there that Man United are looking at. Of course, guys, I've mentioned a number of players over the last few weeks, of course, especially from Argentina as well. Of course, you get Darren, lucky doctor, loads of bottles. I mean, lucky them, Darren. Wouldn't it be nice if someone gave me a bottle of champagne every now and then? Wouldn't that be nice? You know what I mean? Where is my bottle of champagne, guys? Where is my bottle of champagne? For goodness sake, you can give me a digital champagne. Digital bottle of champagne. Very, very good and very expensive. Never see Ineos doing this, but maybe they can surprise me. Tyborg, you know what? I agree. You know what? For me, I take it with a bit of salt bay. I take it with a bit of salt, a pinch of salt, because who wouldn't want Jerome Frimpong, you know, at their football club? I mean, he does everything. He fits the mold perfectly, you know, and having him as the number one, Dalot as the number two, I'll take that. To be honest with you. But as you said there, Tyborg, you know what? If it happens, I'll eat my shirt, literally. Absolutely. Because he's going to cost, how long? How much? 70, 60, 70 upwards around that price, of course. So it's going to be difficult. And if we don't qualify for the Champions League, it's going to be even more difficult, of course, to attract this caliber of players, of course. Does Frimpong still have 35 million release? I think that's over now, Danny B. If I'm not wrong, I think that expired. I do believe that expired. Let me have a look. I'm going to confirm it for you guys now. 1 second. I believe it expired, if I'm not wrong. Let me have a look at this. Jeremy Frimpong, of course. No. It's expired. Yeah, it's expired. Yeah. His minimum wage, Jerome Frimpong's minimum wage is minimum fee is 50 million euros. That looks like it. So I think it expired like in January. I think it expired around that time, of course. So unfortunately, we missed the boat on that one. Shouldn't that be that expensive? So, I mean, it would cost about Man United. Look, it depends on who wants Jeremy Frimpong at the end of the day. If Real Madrid want him, if Bayern Munich go after him as well, if Liverpool go after him, and many teams, PSG and teams like that, go after Jeremy Frimpong, the price from 50 million euros could easily turn to 80 million euros, isn't it? That's the problem. You know, 35 million euros isn't a much of a fee. It's not much of a fee, to be honest with you, if that was the stipulation. But I think now, if I'm not correct, I'm going to have to confirm it, but it is saying here that it is expired. But I will confirm it. But it is saying here that it is expired and he no longer has a 35 million release clause. Who knows? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see in regards to that, guys. Absolutely. We have to wait and see. But I like the player. It would be perfect. But there are players around the world who Man United can quite possibly buy, of course. There are many players. And I've mentioned a lot on this player. Wesley, of course, I mentioned on this channel as well. At the end of the day, let me just write this tweet. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, there are many around, of course, guys. There are many around, many players around, of course, guys. Yeah. At the end of the day. Now, I want to talk about a player that I'm a big fan of, guys. He used to play for Real Madrid, okay? He used to play for Real Madrid. And don't be surprised if you're hearing a lot more about this player. His name is Nico Paz. Nico Paz currently plays for Como. Of course, Como are owned by Cesc Fabregas. I think Cesc Fabregas is one of the directors at Como. Nico Paz is one player, attacking midfielder, can play in the behind the striker in our system. He's killing it at the moment, of course. He's Argentinian. He is killing it at the moment at Como. Obviously went to Real Madrid, didn't quite work out at Real Madrid, but there are players there like him who we can attract, you know, but he's also a very good player, you know what I mean, that we can attract, of course. But there are many in Europe, guys, and join the conversation in regards to it. Join the conversation. Who do you think Man United could pick up? Name me your bargains. Who's the best up-and-coming wing-backs, strikers, attackers who Man United can get on a decent price? Guys, let me know. Guys, that is the end of the show. A little bit earlier today. Of course, got a couple of things to do, but I really, really appreciate everyone who's come on today. Thank you very much. Thank you to members as well. Big up Tyborg and Grayo. And of course, guys, thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Don't forget, I'm back tomorrow for Breaking Dawn, if nothing else breaks. Tyborg, let me just read your comment. I would go for Alejandro Grimaldo from Leverkusen. He is Leverkusen left defender and can play 3-4-3. There you go. Alejandro Grimaldo. Now, you know what I'm going to do, guys? You guys are giving me names, right? And I'm going to research these names and I'm going to put them forward, you know, and I'm going to promote them, because if I like these players, I'm going to do that. You know what I mean? You know, I got ball knowledge. You know, you guys have got ball knowledge. You guys have got ball knowledge, so I know. Absolutely. Turkey, yeah, I know all about Turkey. I know about Wemo, of course. Big up. Danny B, yeah, I know about Wemo and Turkey. Absolutely brilliant, of course. Maston Twanto, yeah, Naipan, Hackney. I mentioned Hackney a couple of weeks ago, and, you know, people started to copy me, guys, at the end of the day. People try to copy me, mentioning Hackney and stuff like that, and act like they're the ones that exposed it and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, great player. There are good players in the Championship. Of course, I like South American players. I like every player anyway. If he's good, if he's good enough, it doesn't matter where they're from. But I do like these type of players, of course, guys. Absolutely, guys. I'm going to do my research and I'm going to come back to you on these players, of course. And you know what? There is going to be a lot of spin. We have to be careful. We do have Ineos in charge and the Glazers still. So we have to be wary of the spin that is coming out of Manchester United. So I'm trying to report things that have a little bit of substance. You know, it's not always 100% right. But you know what? I'm trying to report things that have a little bit of substance and not, you know, just lies and ridiculous. And by the way, guys, did you see Ricky from United Stand? Did you see his quotes? Did you see his comments on Bruno? What do you think about that? Do you think that's a little bit harsh? Do you think that's a little bit harsh on Bruno? What do you guys think? Christian Adonis, I've said this on here, and Juan Jimenez. Yeah, I know all about them, brother. Spoke about them last week, of course, on the show. Definitely Christian Adonis and Juan Jimenez, of course. Both very young, both very, very good players, of course, under 20 Argentinian internationals, guys, you know what I mean? And we all know Argentinians, they got, especially defenders. I mean, I come from a period of Javier Zanetti and people like that, do you know what I mean? Great defenders they used to have. Samuel, what was that guy's name? You know what I mean? Sensini and players of that, the ilk, of course, guys. Absolutely. All right, fellas. Ricky has an agenda against Bruno and he's doing it for a long time. Can't understand why that is. Look, Tybal, what I would say, right? I'm not going to defend Ricky. I would say that he has a point in regards to all-round play. He's talking about all-round play, about players who give and go. But what I would argue to contradict him is that, you know, if Bruno was in the Manchester United team of the 90s, don't you think he would be doing that as well? We were a settled side. We had world-class players everywhere. I mean, I cannot fathom how we would think that Bruno wouldn't fit into that side. I mean, we had the likes of Luke Chadwick and Ben Thornley and players like that. You know what I mean? And Cleverley and players like that. I think that Man United, you know what, Bruno was around. Bruno has been unfortunate to be at a time where Man United are not good. I'm not saying that Bruno's going to be the saviour. He's brilliant and he's, you know what, he's going to win the league and this and that. But I think he's come at an unfortunate time at the end of the day. We haven't got a player at United what Bruno can do. Absolutely. This is the whole thing, isn't it, UK Darren? You know, who steps up if Bruno goes? If Bruno steps down, who steps up? No one's going to step up. Only Bruno steps up, you know. I sort of worry if I have a team. If Bruno's not there, I'm a little bit concerned. Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to score goals, you know? And it is evident this last few weeks, of course. I feel Mason Mount would suit this Amarin system, but I understand the issue back. I'm just saying, I agree, Kerwin Nixon. He has been dropped from Marseille for whatever reason that is. I don't know, probably politics again. But you know what? I like Greenwood. I think it's unfortunate what happened with Greenwood, of course. Excuse me. I think it's unfortunate. Not about to cry. It's just my throat. I think it's unfortunate what happened to Greenwood and stuff. And I wish him the best of luck, of course, guys. Absolutely. I wish him the best of luck. Fortunately, it won't be at Man United with it, but he would have fitted the system. Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening, night, morning, wherever you are in the world. You're all absolute legends. You guys are smashing it. Thank you so much. Guys, I hit 9,000 subscribers today. Thank you, everyone who's contributed towards that. As I move up, I'm going to get more great guests. I'm also doing a show on the memberships in regards to interviews and things like that. I'm just setting it up at the moment, getting the equipment ready and that. I'll also be going out there in the UAE and interviewing people about Man United. How interesting will that be? Guys, you know, you're going to hear a lot of stuff about Man United, what people think about Man United from this neck of the woods, of course, which is very, very exciting, of course, guys. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Have a fabulous, fabulous evening, night, morning, and I'll see you tomorrow for Breaking Dawn. I'm Sal Warner. This is Chatterbox. Take it easy. Peace.